Hello, this is Mike Morrison with Express Title and Closing. I'll bring you a video here today that's going to talk about mobile home titles and the challenges that you face as it relates to the chain of title. We're going to talk about a surrender process, a timeline of how and when the mobile home title became treated as real property, and then lastly, some step-by-step guides of how to locate that mobile home title and ultimately get it surrendered. So first, we're going to talk about the surrender process, which involves locating the original mobile home title with copies of all deeds that lead up to the current owner, with a signed, executed, and recorded affidavit of fixation. Those coupled together are what is submitted to the Title and Registration Division that surrenders the mobile home title. Now the problem is, prior to 2003, there was no real clear process to describe how to handle those mobile home titles. So when 2003 came along, they enacted the surrender statute, which said that they had to get an affidavit of fixation recorded by the current owner, and then that's what created the mobile home title as real property. Now the problem with that is it didn't clear up the mobile home title that's still out there that could possibly be used to get a car title place to get a title loan. So 2009 came along and they kind of tried to clear up that. So they wanted to say, all right, from this page forward, in order to get the mobile home title surrendered, you're going to have to include that original title. So any mobile homes that are purchased prior to 2009, there's a likelihood that that mobile home title is still floating out there somewhere, that it wasn't surrendered. So now we're going to talk about, lastly here, is how do we locate this mobile home title, and then how do we get it surrendered. So first step we're going to talk about is, all right, we're going to try to gather all warranty deeds, deeds of trust, affidavit fixations that relate to this property to determine, all right, what is the VIN number. The VIN number is going to allow us to determine what mobile home is associated with this property. Secondly here is we're going to determine who owned that property. And we're going to try to figure out, when did this property start becoming taxed with an improvement value from the point at which it was just land. So that's going to allow us to determine who the owner is when the mobile home title was issued. Thirdly is we're going to try to determine, were there any mortgages that were taken out to purchase this mobile home. Now the likelihood that once that mortgage is paid off, the likelihood that that lien holder would still have the mobile home title is extremely unlikely. However, this is still going to help us later on here to determine who that lien holder is. So, fourth is we're going to take that information we found here, we're going to call the Title and Registration Division, and we're going to verify what we found is in fact correct and what matches what they have. Now you've got to take into account the Title and Registration Division. They're not going to give you information, so they can only clarify, or they can only verify what you tell them is correct. So if we've determined that we know who the lien holder was, we know who the owner of record is, and we've got the VIN number, now we've kind of got what we need to complete this process. So the fifth step is here, we're going to try to contact that lien holder. Now, ultimately what we want to try to do here is, you can go on to the state of Tennessee's website at Tennessee or tn.gov/revenue/vehicle and print off the specific power of attorney that is used by the state of Tennessee and the Title Registration Division. And that power of attorney, we're going to try to get the lien holder to sign, which is going to allow us to issue or request a lost title. Now the problem you're going to face there is dealing with the lien holder is the whole third party privacy disclosure, and they're not going to disclose information to you as the third party. So sometimes you kind of end up at a dead road there, and so it leaves you with, all right, if you can't get anything from the lender, now you've got to go back to the actual owner of record of when that mobile home title was issued. So it's a lot of ways is just kind of tracking down the current owner and getting information of who they bought it from, and then locating, all right, who was that person who the mobile home title was issued to. Now, once you find that person out, it's almost like being a detective. You're trying to find out, who can get in contact with them, realtors on previous deals, previous closing agents, title companies, attorneys. Those are always good people to call. But ultimately, if you can find a number to call and get a hold of them, an address, worst case scenario, and then getting in touch with the actual owner of record that mobile home title was issued to. So if you can't get the lien holder, then you're going to have to go to that owner of record. And once you locate them, it's the same process. You're going to try to get them to sign a power of attorney that will allow you to issue a request for a lost title. Now, once you do that, you go back to that whole surrender process. That you're going to go and you can go to the actual local clerk's office and issue the actual mobile home title, and then you're going to do the surrender process. So I hope this information is informative, and I hope you found this to be helpful. Any questions you have, feel free to contact me. And this is Mike Morrison with Express Title and Closing.